Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another session. Yes, Dan is back, and I have another hat. Thanks, Lise, for asking. But of course, go Blue Jays, go! Tonight is a big night. We're 2-2 in the series, and we get a chance to take the lead. And yes, I'll be going on Friday night if it all works out. But let's get back to what we've been discussing, which is AI and travel, and this incredible morning we've had. First, let me introduce someone who's really special that I'm thrilled has taken the time to be here with us, Marilyn Markham from AMEX GBT. Welcome, Marilyn. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, this is a really important topic for me, given my background was corporate travel. And also when I look at the size of these industries and we think about leisure travel and corporate travel, and in this post-COVID era that I know we all want to start talking about COVID, but this didn't happen in human history before, and it's still affecting so many of our travel behaviors, including the idea of traveling for business. People were wondering, is business travel going to come back? And then not only is business travel come back, but also people are traveling in this terrible word bleisure. I think we all want to move away from that, but the idea that people are traveling for business and they're adding on additional days. So I know there's so much that you have to offer on this conversation about corporate travel and AI. And before we do kick off, I just want to acknowledge what an incredible morning it's been, our first half of the day. Shayna, obviously outstanding moderation there, talking about travel advisors. Max, our first airline and airport session. And of course, Christian, who always does a fantastic job. But Stuart, man, the moderation was outstanding. And Frank, an incredible keynote earlier today. So it's wonderful to see all the feedback and engagement. Please definitely keep that up. And we have another incredible guest for you here now. So Marilyn, tell everyone a little bit about your role and a little bit more about AMEX GBT and what you guys do as it relates to AI.
Sure thing. So I'm Vice President for our AI and automation strategy. At AMEX GBT, we started our AI initiative about 2 years ago now, and it is still going strong. It is thriving. It's been a very organic journey where we have some teams diving in headlong into the fray, while others are taking a more cautious but still very curious approach. My role is to ensure that we adopt generative AI as an enterprise capability, but also that we push towards transforming the way we do what we do and the work we do, and empower the teams that build our customer products with these tools that are brand new to the industry.
Fantastic. Thank you. And again, I've seen you on stage, other conferences, and I've been so impressed by not only what you have accomplished at AMEX GBT, but also the way you're able to convey. And there was kind of 3 areas I wanted to focus on. I know our listeners will be jumping in with their questions as well, and I'll try and incorporate those in the conversation. But the first area I wanted to talk about was use cases, this whole idea of moving from vision to execution, especially in a role like yours, where the execution is so important, but obviously you need to shape the strategy. So that's the first area I want to discuss. And then I also want to get into data, trust, and culture, because you guys have this bank-based culture. And I think one of the things that people can certainly learn from you. And then I want to talk about agentic AI. So those are the 3 kind of big topics I want to cover in our time together, Marilyn. But let's start with use cases. So how have you applied Gen AI to your core businesses at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to take a chronological approach. So for those who may not know us very well, at American Express Global Business Travel, we offer travel management services, expense, but also meeting and events. And incidentally, the very first team to jump in was the meeting and events team. And that's because meeting and events is one of the more text-intensive parts of the business. Because if you've tried to organize an event anytime, you realize that our regular tools, be it Cvent or others, don't always have all the information you need, and you still need to contact properties. And so the teams found that with so much text coming in and out in an unstructured, inconsistent way, they could use generative AI straight out of the box. And so they were the first. They used Gen AI to standardize their RFP responses and extract data in a meaningful way. They also used it as a search assistant to try and get out of the proverbial tyranny of the search box and look for what was meaningful to them and their customers. We found that, of course, at the time, because it was 2 years ago, staleness of data in the LLMs was an issue. But then now we're able to use agentic AI, for example, to start searching live data and marry that with the analytics and synthesis of the language models. So that's one area of the business. Another area was in managed travel. One of the biggest, most obvious applications was travel policy. Travel policy is a big document. It covers many areas. And for teams that are after hours or shared teams that don't get to interact very often with specific clients' policies, having an AI assistant that knew the policy and was able to give them answers that were customer ready was like an immediate application. So we rolled that out globally to all our collaborators about a year ago now. And so they all have the benefit of an AI policy assistant. And then maybe a third example is for travel managers. Travel managers on our Agencia solutions will have noticed somewhere midway through this year that they can do now natural language queries on the data to manage their program. And this has been a huge ask from our travel managers to be able to go beyond the insights that we provide to just ask their ad hoc questions and have AI interpret and query the data for them.
I appreciate you sharing those. And one of the things I wanted to ask that's been a recurring theme throughout our event is the human versus AI. And clearly you have an important need to service all of these customers. And there's always going to be that element of the human touch. So a lot of these developments with the generative AI have certainly been around automation. So tell us a little bit about how you view that. And also too, Marilyn, given that you are, across this organization looking at those opportunities, I guess, how do you identify the opportunities that could be most beneficial to start to incorporate generative AI? And then how do you view what is going to be automated versus still continuing to have the human touch?
Yeah, sure. So we believe that the best service offering we're going to have for our customers is going to be found at the confluence of tech and touch together. So it's really not a tech versus the humans, it's the tech with the humans. Of the tech's actually supplementing the humans and supercharging them. So earlier this year, one of the things we did was we partnered with Ipsos to survey the corporate travelers to get a pulse on how the new entrants into the workplace and the workforce are feeling about business travel and whether their needs are evolving compared to their predecessors. This is something we do regularly. One of the most unexpected takeaways was that the Gen Zers had a higher preference to be assisted by humans compared to their elders. We really didn't expect that to be the case. This comforted us in our philosophy that blending tech and touch is the best way to reassure and to make the new generation of workers fall in love with business travel. And one of the key times when this shines is when travel is disrupted. We found that, of course, 6 in 10 business travelers want to do it themselves, but then 7 in 10 actually hope to have the help of another human on the line. And so the way we identify the best places to invest is to actually speak with the people on the front line to understand what they're doing and find places where AI has an opportunity to make them shine, accelerate the work they're doing, and take away some of the friction that they have jumping around tools, finding data, and actually just supporting them in serving our customers better. We also have another ear to the ground, which is more on the customer side, to actually try and reimagine their experiences with our tools and what the tasks they need to do and how AI could actually transform and present a brand new user experience.
Thanks for sharing that with us. And I think that's where, from my point of view, when I think of corporate travel, which just having that background, many people don't realize not only how significant corporate travel is, but all the complexity to manage it. And one of the things that I've had the privilege to speak to you a couple of times, and I'm always keen to learn, and obviously all of our listeners are as well. And when I see someone like you, Marilyn, is leading the way with a company like AMEX GBT, I think to these chief AI officers, or even my previous role as a chief digital officer, and one of the most challenging aspects is culture change. That's something I asked Marilyn about when we had a call a couple of weeks ago, and it's one of the things I wanted to share with the audience here, because she had a really fascinating take on this about them having a bank-based culture. And it was interesting. Your take on this was very different than I expected, because clearly you've been able to navigate the culture and bring everyone along on this journey. So tell us a little bit about how you've done that, because obviously one of the big things about AI is data and trust. We've heard a lot about trust today, and I think everyone keeps using the line that all good AI starts with good data. So take us a little bit through the culture of AMEX GBT and how you've approached this, changing the company culture or evolving the company culture to really embrace AI.
Absolutely. And so, as you said, we have our roots as a bank holding company, which means we have really high standards when it comes to data privacy and data protection. So, as we embarked on the Gen AI journey, the very first thing we did was to think really quick about how we could balance the greed of AI for more, better data and corporate data, and our absolute refusal to share that data. And the way we did it was actually to start by choosing a language model that would be a private instance that's deployed within our environment where the data goes nowhere. And once you lift that barrier, actually, we found that it reassured all our stakeholders. They're like, oh, cool, we're back in known territory. The data's not going anywhere. And that actually unlocked us to be able to go ahead and innovate and explore more freely what could be done with generative AI. When it comes to third parties, of course, a lot of new entrants as this technology starts to flourish. We had to revise how we do the intake and manage our third party partners. And one of the things that was kind of first step was to review in the contractual languages what adjustments needed to be made to make sure that in the age of AI, these agreements were still relevant. They acknowledged the fact that our third parties may themselves need AI third parties. And how does that change our relationship? And what reassurances did we need? So that's all in place. And it allows us to make sure that the reputation that we have as a trusted partners to our customers continues to be true and be rooted in like objective facts. So we feel that we've done and laid the right foundation in terms of preserving our mandate, but also opening the door to innovation.
And the other part about this, the change management side. So I appreciate you sharing that on the data side and then bringing everyone along the journey. One of the things that we've seen is a disconnect between the utilization of AI and people actually being trained on how to use it. So how have you approached that I guess huge part of AI adoption, the change management side, and then also training? Because I keep hearing people ask me, and you hear some of the people joining our sessions that they offer training, but it's very difficult today to figure out where to go. But how does that work? How have you approached that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with people who say that the first step is training, because training helps to remove the fear factor of the unknown. So that's where we started. We felt that AI was going to be for everybody, and we still believe this is an everybody thing. It's not just for the technologists or just for the service folks. It's for literally everybody in the company. So we created a training that is AI 101. It teaches people to be AI literate. And that allows everyone to not be afraid of the terms, know what they mean, and also have a degree of eloquence when trying to explain how that applies to our business, to their specific work, or to their personal understanding. That was level 1. Level 2 is actually AI competency. And that was a class that we offered to, again, everybody to know how to write a prompt. What is even a prompt? How to use a chatbot. Giving this training allowed people to actually get out of the funk of what is this going to do for me and get a clear picture of how it may affect them. Immediately, we had to supplement that training with actual access to tools. Because if you learn something and you never apply it, you just forget it and it just becomes this theory out there. So we gave everyone access to a company chatbot that runs on our private instance for them to hone those skills. And then the real fun began. We started finding trainings. If everyone's asking, where are you getting all this training? LinkedIn Learning, there's a lot on there. So we just decided to use it because we partner with them. And so we found job relevant training. For example, if you're a project manager, how should you be using AI? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's a training for that. And so slowly but surely, we started picking on different job roles and teaching them how they could change the way they work by using generative AI. And this is the part where I think sometimes some of these efforts of training and providing tools falls short is it takes a lot of time. Amidst the excitement, it still takes a deliberate effort to make sure that everyone comes along and no one is left behind. We find that we have team meetings where we're invited. We have individual conversations where we collaborate, but we also have internal forums for our engineers to share their discoveries, bring to light new tools they're curious about. And on the other hand, we have other just user forums for people to share their successes with others who are looking to be inspired. So it's a very human effort to get good adoption. It's definitely something we're still working on because it takes a while to permeate the whole structure. But just take the time. If you're struggling with that in your company, it's people spending time with people to talk about tech.
Thank you, Marilyn. We've seen a lot of engagement in the chat about this. Larissa, you've had some great questions, and I really like your I want to take AI 101. So we'll find a way to share some additional suggestions from Marilyn, because I know we're going to be running short on time. But I do have one more question that I wanted to ask you, since it is the future, and that is agentic AI. Yesterday morning, we had some incredible demos, but you could see some of the concern amongst travel advisors about what this all means with agentic AI. John Pickles is doing a session this afternoon, and he commented earlier today, and I think this is a huge opportunity for travel advisors to be empowered with agentic AI. So there's many different views on this and what the future looks like. Tell us how you see it at AMEX GBT as we move into this agentic era, and what you think the potential is.
Sure. I'm actually really excited about agentic AI. At GBT, we're part of two industries, the service industry, but also the travel industry. On the service industry side, I'm looking forward to chatbots getting a second chance at making a good impression. I think we're all traumatized by bad chatbots. And each time any of us is on a phone or a chat and you get the chat saying, I am a robot, I'm here to help you, we all start screaming, operator, down the line, right? But we are the same people who go and spend hours speaking with ChatGPT. So that tells me that the experience has been fixed, and we now have the technology to have pleasant, smart, actual chatbots, and with agentic AI, industrious chatbots that can actually help us do what we need to do. On the travel industry side, I'm interested to see how agentic AI is going to help us build connections across the industry. Back in the day, we had a tug, and it's still ongoing, between going to an aggregator so you could compare and shop, or going direct so that you had personalized offers with much more detail. Maybe in the future, we could have an AI agent delegate so that we could shop and compare, and then once we have our top results, go deeper direct so we can get all the information and the personalization. So I would really urge all the actors in the travel industry, please go ahead and think about how you could make MCP servers available for our AI agents to connect to you. Or maybe you want to put an AI agent in place yourselves, and our agent can speak to your agents and make life better for all our travelers. I think that would be a wonderful world.
Thank you, Marilyn. And clearly there's so much more for us to discuss. I can see in the engagement and the questions and people's very positive feedback from the session. So what I'm going to commit to doing, I'm really keen to obviously have you on the podcast. So we're going to do an episode with Marilyn as part of season 6. We'll find a way to get it in, because I think there's so much more that our audience can learn from you. So thank you so much to you and the team for being here. Greatly appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. See you again soon.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.